All right, ladies and germs, as y'all know, going to be interviewing Alicia Baumgardner in a few. Going to do a Q&A in reference to this weekend's action. What's going on with Choi, that unification match? What's going on with Michaela Mayer, that potential unification match? Questions in reference to this past weekend's fight, monumental fight. Y'all know I like to pregame a little bit. I like to warm up just to let everybody know that I've already prepared a set of questions for Alycia in reference to certain subject matters. So if any of you out there would like me to ask her your question, you can present it in the form of a super chat because my eyes are going to be fixed on her. I'm not going to be really looking at the comments to see what everybody's saying. But when I see that color icon, I'll know that, okay, somebody has a question. Ay, what's goody, Sufami Dan? What's goody, Westside Danny? Fantasma en el building. Sofía, que lo que? Jove, que lo que? Riva, que lo que? And yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good things going on. And me Bustamante en el building, ya tú sabes. Ebony Suber, what it do, what it do, what it do? Yeah, I mean, and yeah, man, you know, it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend, and this has been just a really good month for the sport because we coming off of what was one super fight that I think in many ways exceeded everyone's expectations. And now here this weekend coming up, we got another super fight, and it's a very important fight because it doesn't just affect the fighters involved. It affects everything moving forward. You know, if Dimitri were to upset the apple cart for Canelo, you have to wonder what he does. Does he go into an immediate rematch? Or does he go into that Golovkin trilogy anyway? You know, it's a great weekend. It's a great weekend of fights. And yeah, man, I saw some tweets from Stefan Espinoza. It kind of felt like he was taking shots at Eddie Hearn, and it was silly. You know, the whole thing was silly because it's like, yes, Eddie Hearn does interviews and he does press conferences because he's a promoter. Promoters have to promote. You, on the other hand, are a network executive acting as a promoter. You like to pretend that you're not, but you are acting as a promoter. You're a network executive. See, he's in his element doing those interviews and answering those questions and providing that information. Whereas Stefan, you're not a promoter, you know, like you're not a promoter. You know what I mean? Like it's wild, man. It's a lot of pettiness, but that really accents because Eddie Hearn very recently sat down with Ariel Helwani, and he was talking about the pettiness in boxing and how different platforms and different outfits they don't really like to work with each other. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you see what it is. Yeah, I mean, you see what it is. And it's wild out here. Carlos in the building. Hey, Michael Gillis in the building. Hey, Alfred Young in the building. Hey, C-Math in the building. Earth in the building. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's you know, that's boxing, man. And really, that's just any job. That's not even exclusive to the sport of boxing. Every job is like that, where it's cats, they don't get along. It's cattiness and pettiness and backdoor shit and work snitches. I had to say that in a long time. Work snitches. Yeah, I mean, it's like that in every field, in every job that is a job. To some degree, there's that unless you work alone, and you don't have to deal with different people's polarizing personalities and things like that. But everything is like that. You know what I mean? Everything is like that. So you know. And you still got the Kamaru Usman thing going on, and it's like, yo, them MMA cats love to take digs at boxing, and it's like, if you doing better, then you would not even be talking about boxing or boxers if you was really on the up and up. If what you do is so much superior and you getting and whatever, right? Then you wouldn't even be talking about it. But you talking about it because you know damn good and well you damn bad, fam. Like, what are you talking about? And I said it in a video I did. It's super featherweights making more bread than you. Super featherweights. Matter of fact, I'd wager Juan Francisco Estrada y Chocolatito, they probably got bigger purses for their fights, they last couple of fights, than some of your best guys. So who are you to talk? It's flyweights and super flyweights getting more bank than you, fam. You clearly in the wrong racket, or maybe it's not that you in the wrong racket. It's that, you know, those who can do. If you could get that paper, you would do that. But you know you can't get that paper. So what you want to do is, oh, you gonna ride Canelo wave, you gonna talk about, it's like, man, shit corny, fam. Like, get out of here, man. Kamaru in the optimum. Did you see Haney taking another pick with Canelo after he dissed Canelo in the camp some time ago? LOL, the night of Shakur. Yeah, I seen that. It's like, man, success breeds envy. It was the same. It's the same for Canelo. It was the same for Mayweather. It was the same for Oscar before him. It was the same for Manny. Success breeds envy. Some people don't want to see nobody doing good, really, because it's like the dude is fighting champions, right? He fought unbeaten champion Smith, unbeaten champion Saunders, unbeaten champion Plant. Now he about to fight an unbeaten champion at a heavier weight. What do you want? Oh, because you got an inflated opinion of a particular fight that it really ain't even that good. Like, and motherfuckers don't like to hear that shit, but it's facts. Because you got an inflated opinion of a particular individual does not affect the rest of the world's perception of things. Bivol is a more dangerous fight than Charlo. Bivol is probably a more dangerous fight than Benavidez, because it's like, bro, and I don't already been through that. Like, bro, y'all sound crazy. Y'all got cats going a distance with Juan Montiel and they supposed to be the boogie. Come on, B. Come on. It's silly. But man. They don't want to work together to give us the fight that we want, but want us to pay for the fight that we don't want. Exactly, LJ. Feel me? Like, you got Davis versus Romero coming up, right? I'm buying this weekend's pay-per-view. I bought Fury versus White. You know what I mean? I think I bought another one before that recently. I'm trying to remember. But in any event, yeah, I bought Spence versus Ugas. I bought Spence versus Ugas, Fury versus White, and I'm about to buy Canelo versus Bivol. I'm not buying that. It's a lot of people that Davis could be fighting that's better than that. And if you think that's value for money, 84, whether it's 80 or 84, you wilding. Like, nah, y'all not getting my money for that. Y'all crazy. What y'all look like putting a fight like that on pay-per-view? You must think everybody's a bozo. We got Spence versus you guys, a unification match. Fury versus White, a big heavyweight title fight. We got as pay-per-views, you know what I mean? And we got Canelo versus Bivol, right? We getting better fights than a fight that you putting on, not on pay-per-view. For example, Taylor versus Serrano wasn't on pay-per-view, but that was a high-level fight between two high-level fighters. That same night, we got a unification match with two division unbeaten champions in a prime. We got all of that off of pay-per-view. Taylor versus Serrano, Valdez Stevenson. So what y'all look like putting Rolly? You got to pay per view for Rolly? Nah, y'all cats is wilding. Like, nah, I'm good. I catch the highlights on Sunday. Y'all wilding, man. I just seen him in there with Anthony Yiggett. And even though he beat Yiggett, he ain't look good. Like, nah, like, y'all cats are crazy, man. Y'all crazy. Lance was good. Alfred was good. And yeah, we just going to let the numbers drum up while we wait for Alycia to join. I already sent her the link, and she should be arriving shortly after 11:30. And yeah, man, it's a common sense argument. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that Stefan Espinoza and the people over there at the PBC would have the foresight to say, you know what? This doesn't really need to be on pay-per-view. So maybe what we'll do is we'll give Davis 1.5 or maybe even 2 up front to satisfy his purse demands. Rolly is not $1 million fighter. I'll tell you that right now. How do I know? Does he generate $1 million? When he fight, do you sell $1 million worth of tickets? Is there $1 million worth of ad revenue? No, so he should not be getting anything close to that. And if you fucking off money, if that's what you're doing, all right, then that tells the story of why this is on pay-per-view, because that's not $1 million fighter. A lot of people like to get altruistic because they don't understand the infrastructure, because they don't want to understand that this is a business, right? If you're not $1 million fighter, you have to justify the spending. Now, one way you can justify the spending is if the opponent you're facing is a big enough draw that he can afford to give you that because his fights generate a lot of fucking money. But this is not the situation. This is not the case. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's wild, man. King KO in the building. I hate I had a physical body. It would look like if hate had a physical body. Yeah, yo, that's crazy to me, man. I'm like, I don't know, man. That cat, he's salty. Look, I understand being competitors, but they don't want to see the virtue in working together. So you putting other people in a position where they have to show you up. Now he's got the cash cow of boxing for at least the next 2 to 3 fights. That doesn't bode well for you because you don't have anything to compete with that. Nobody in your stable is competition for that dude. It's not even close. The last time he was on pay-per-view, 800,000. That's the reported numbers. All right, that's what the reported buys were. Before that, 76,000 people in attendance to see him fight an away fighter. It goes without saying that you don't have nothing to compete with that. And instead of bridging that gap in order to make those professional relationships to work together, maybe you say, look, you send us this guy and we'll send you that guy so we could do some big fights. You know, that's more beneficial than the game that they are playing. Because now you got Charlo, like, boom. Y'all tried to get Munguia. I ain't even going to hold them because they didn't. Showtime didn't mess up that fight. I've said it many times. Showtime didn't mess up that fight. Oscar messed up that fight. But it still denotes the same thing. You have to be willing to work together. And more importantly, you need to be realistic, all right? Munguia is a fun fighter to watch. But a fight between him and Charlo is not a big enough fight to warrant a joint pay-per-view. And the alternatives, you know, what is the alternative? If you have him walk away from that, what do you have for him that's going to put good money in his pocket? If you don't have nothing, then you need to let him do that fight. That's what you need to do. If you don't have a equal or, you know, good alternative for what you're walking away from, then you fucking him out of some bread is what you doing. That's what you're doing. They should have, to me, they should have let. I think Munguia versus Charlo would have did good business in Texas. I think that would have been even on pay-per-view. I think that could have did 250 to 3. If you keep the purses low and the operational costs low, it's easier to hit the break-even point. It's easier for the pay-per-view to have an upside, so long as the guarantees are realistic and based on real metrics and not inflated purse demands, because you could demand all day, dog. Either you good for that bread or you not. It's a business. Mayer missing a bag was so cringe. Yo, pride is hurting the sport of boxing. They don't want to see each other succeed. It's filtered down to the boxing fans. Facts. That's facts. That's facts. They all trying to sabotage each other and trying to sabotage each other. In some ways, they sabotage the sport. Like, y'all need to build. What y'all need to do is build, work together, and barter. You know, barter. You don't have to, you know, it ain't got to be Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, but barter. You know, like, okay, you got a couple of guys at this weight. I got a couple of guys at this weight. You sent me that guy. You send me this guy for this fight, and I'll send you this guy for this fight, and we'll work like that. Because if you don't do that, the programming overall suffers. Overall, it suffers. A bunch of babies can't. Yeah, if that's facts, Karma. That's facts. A bunch of babies can't build nothing. That's facts. And they all spiteful. Like, it's like they mad. Like, they mad that there's competition. When, listen, competition is good. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you working. It keeps your mind sharp. Competition is good. You know what I mean? You know, and you know, I'm just sitting here laughing, saying I told you so. Like about 3 months ago, when Taylor versus Serrano was en route, I said that there was questions because Oscar Valdez was landing the same day as that fight. And I said that Taylor versus Serrano is a bigger fight. It's not close. Like, no, it's not close. In terms of size, scale, and significance, it's a bigger fight. Fast forward 2.5 months later, I told you so. 19,000 in attendance, 10,000 in attendance. The Sunday morning after the fight, They was talking about Taylor versus Serrano. That's not a knock on these two guys, but I'm saying if we gonna ask which fight is bigger, and there was people trying to wag they thinking like, nah, Valdez versus. I wait, just wait. That's why I be telling y'all, patience used properly is a weapon. Like I'm not gonna sit here, wait, just wait and wait for the viewing figures to come in. And that's going to further drive that point home. You know what I mean? That you can't don't underestimate the audience, especially the global audience, because boxing is more global now. It's not all centered around what's happening in America. It's global now. You got fighters from every corner of the planet: New Zealand, Australia, Africa, Europe. You got a couple of fighters. It look like they're trying to bring boxing to the Middle East. Asia obviously has a boxing scene. The UK obviously has a boxing scene. Up there in them Scandinavian countries, they got boxers and all of that. So it's like, yeah, keep underestimating it. This is not the 80s. America is not the center of the universe. A lot of people don't want to understand that, but hey, that's what I said. Just wait. You know what I mean? And here we have the reigning WBC champion, Alicia Baumgardner. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
So very good. We all know you were very recently in New York City. How was your trip?
My trip was amazing. If you know anything about me, you know I'm enjoying the boxing atmosphere and just being in there around so many world champions, people who have made history in the sport. That was the best show I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Somebody got a question for you. Gunner Forever. IQ, buenos días. Saludo. Oh, what's goody from East LA? Appreciate you, bro. The atmosphere. Talk to me about the atmosphere of the fight, because it feels like that fight exceeded. Like we all knew it was big, and we felt like it was big. But you were actually there. You got to see the people, see the Irish people, the Boricua people. All the fighters came out. Yeah, I mean, how was it to be there?
You know, my first impression was when I actually walked into the Hulu theater where they had the weigh-ins. That was packed out. So I'm like, listen, weigh-ins are say a lot when there's a lot of people, right? That was like at a 10. Then went to the arena and I'm doing my commentary before the bell, and you just see little by little it's just packing up, more people. And by the time it was time to go, it was so loud in there. You would think you were at a Canelo fight. I'm gonna put it towards that. Like you thought you were at a Canelo fight, and it was just amazing. I could not believe I was experiencing this for a big fight for women's boxing. Like it was amazing. For anyone who missed it, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, like I had a lot of discussions myself in the build up, because obviously there were two cards going down that weekend, and months ago I maintained that like, nah, that's going to end up being a bigger fight. How I know? It's in a big room, fam, in Madison Square. That ain't the Hulu theater that seats 5,000. You could fit damn near 20,000 in a big room. That's how I know it's going to be bigger. And two, boxing is global. You're going to have all the Puerto Rocks in New York City that's rooting for Amanda, but you also going to have the Irish flying in for Katie. So that's two big fans coming together.
They were out. When I tell you them Irish was coming for Katie, they was out. And even, the Puerto Ricans, the best thing that I saw was walking into the fight, they're selling T-shirts, headbands, flags. I'm like, man, this is the real deal, because look where we came, and I loved it. There's posters everywhere. I'm in New York City on the billboard. I'm like, this is dope. Like this is the way it's supposed to be. Exactly.
And I think that's what made it special, that like, regardless of who you thought was going to win or who you might have wanted to win, for everybody, for Katie, for Amanda, for you, for all the other girls, it was a win, regardless of the outcome. It's like, nah, you see, you could sell out Madison Square Garden if you got the fights and they willing to go and they good fighters. It don't matter. It's going to sell. And now they have that proof.
Exactly.
Now, Napoli has a question for you. He says, big up to you, Jules. Also big up to Alycia. Tigress in dress and the Tigress in the ring. Keep shining. Appreciate that, bro.
Thank you.
Boxing God is asking, Peace, champ. When can we expect an announcement date for the Choi fight? Thank you, Ring IQ Boxing, for introducing women's boxing. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, right now we are in negotiating stage. Again, this takes a little time. This takes going back and forth, offering a few things. And so with negotiating, you can't just put a date on it yet. But I told them that I want to stay active. So hopefully we can be back out in the summertime.
Okay, let me read this one. Just set up camp in the UK full time, please. We appreciate you more over here. Would you take B-side money to face Serrano if the fight could be made?
Yes. Yes. I would fight Serrano. I don't even care about an A side, B side, C side. I will just take the fight because it's a competitive fight. I think that's another exciting fight for women's boxing. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, and if anybody is familiar with Alycia, she's like a very competitive person. So just the idea of being able to get it in with somebody that everybody know now. Alicia's good, Amanda's good. Like ain't no questions. They could fucking fight. Pardon me. They could fight. They could fight. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, that would be a big fight. That would be a big show.
It would. It would. I agree.
West Side says, ask the champ what round will she KO Mayer, and can I get a West Side love from the champ one time for the one time?
Okay, shout out to the West Side. Love, shedding all the love over there. And for the knockout, I would say maybe the sixth or seventh round. It could be the fourth round because I'm gonna tell you something. I thought Terry was gonna be the sixth round, right? Because she's a boxer. She's gonna, box. But the fact that I did that in the fourth round says a whole lot. So I trained really hard for that fight. So that just tells me it could be an early night for Mayer. Shit.
Yeah, I want to get to Mayer because I got a lot of questions about Mayer and the Matisse fight. I got a lot of questions. Salute to the champ. Did you manage to see Mayer at the fight?
Yeah, I did see her. Mm-hmm.
Was it nice between y'all? Was that at least like, look, I ain't gonna beat you up now because we here to see this fight? Did y'all at least like, nod and greet
Oh
each other?
no,
Not?
on the other side of me. She was on my right hand side. I was looking forward. You know, it was for like a brief second though. I was commentating the fight, so I was away from really the crowd. But yeah, I seen her, but she was to my right of me. I wasn't looking that way. So
All right. Daniel Rios asks Alycia, did you happen to catch Michaela's score on the punch machine on Saturday? Thank you for taking the time to be here. We all appreciate it.
I heard that she did it. I didn't see it yet, but I heard it was like 400, and I know I hit harder than that. So
Yeah, I gotta save it because I got wild questions about that.
I'm
Salute the Jews. Salute the Jews for opening my eyes to women's boxing. Shout out to the champ, Alycia. Are you and your team eyeing a Mayer fight now?
yeah, it's in discussion. Choi is in discussion, Mayer's in discussion, my next opponent is in discussion. Whoever it's going to be, I'm in discussion to fight. That's the most important part. I'm fighting, I'm staying active. And again, that fight with Mayer is being built as we speak daily.
Mm-mm. Okay, now one thing I wanted to ask you about is what were your expectations as far as how you expected Taylor versus Serrano to play out versus how it actually happened? Did it meet your expectations?
I would say yes. If
Mm,
go back on some of my interviews, I was explaining that I had Amanda winning by knockout and I had Katie Taylor winning on points.
mm,
Now I have it a draw, but besides that, I predicted that Amanda was coming forward, the harder shots. Katie was going to use her feet, but then she also engaged in the fight in the middle of the ring, and we seen that she got hurt. So the expectations, I knew she was going to get hurt because Amanda has power.
mm.
And so just to see her climb herself back out of that fifth round, man, listen, that was some warrior shit right there. I'll say.
My eyes welled up when I seen it. Like you said, that's why I love that girl, man. Like I love that girl, man.
Right. And so she, to me, grabbed the last impression for these judges on those last couple rounds. So yeah, I would say it went my prediction on what I thought. I didn't pick a winner, but I did by towards the end of the night or like my last interview. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with Katie.
Mm. Now, in the fifth round, because everybody was losing their mind in the fifth round. Everybody was losing their mind. What was Alycia doing in the fifth round? Like, was you like just in awe, or was you screaming like, yo, you know what I'm saying? What was you doing?
I'm looking at the screen because I'm commentating as well on the fight. I'm like just staring. I'm like bobbing my head. I'm like move. You know what I'm saying? Like as a fighter, you just move it. But I was just like, oh my gosh, if we had 3-minute rounds, might not make it out that round. I was thinking, you know, and sometimes you get kind of like scared because the referees, they sometimes just stop some fights when it's not even necessary. I'm like, I hope it's not one of those cases because Katie was still kind of showing that she was still alive, but you just never know with the referee. He could nope, just wave it off that quick because he thinks you getting hit too much. So it was something to see.
I think we all I actually saw an article in reference to that, the referee, and he said that he didn't want to stop the flow of action. I think we all owe that man a big thing because the fight, it's like, yo, the fact that we got to see that he didn't stop it, it was like, wow, B, this is crazy.
I think, you know, as a fighter, when you're throwing those punches, you have somebody hurt. Amanda is hoping that the referee comes in and waves it off. But it was just like, no, girl, you're going to have to keep going with this one because the ref ain't doing nothing. You know, he's just going to sit back. So I felt her. I mean, she really could have got the stoppage if the ref wanted to.
I mean, I think there was a precedence there. Like there were two shots I saw that you could see the blood. That two, she connected with like a 1-2, and you see the blood pop right out Katie. No, I'm like, yo, they gonna stop this joint. But Katie just got like that's what I love. Is she just started slipping as best as she could. Started slipping, getting under. She stumbling around. She clenching. I'm like, yo, B. I don't know what her gristle made out of that she took all that punishment.
Man, listen, she a warrior.
Real spit. Ronnie asks, yo, you did it again, Jules. All I'm gonna say is Baumgardner versus Mayer can't get made fast enough. Alycia, keep up the great work. You dig. I dig it.
Appreciate it.
And now moving off of even though I still it still feel like there's more there, like, all right, now that this fight has happened, you as a boxer, what message do you think it sends out to those people that turn their nose up at the sport of women's boxing? What message do you think that sends to them?
That message sends a clear message. It says women's boxing is here. It's been here. Respect it or keep it moving because guess what? We're filling seats regardless. That's
Yeah,
what that says. And it just proves so people wrong. It's just to a hater, it's just like you can't even say nothing. Don't even say nothing. Just be like, I respect it and walk away. Because that's all you can do. You can only respect what just happened that night, April 30th, for women's boxing.
exactly. GM Strong says, Ms. Baumgartner, congratulations on your success. You look so clean. I know this is selfish, but could you help Julius get? Come on, I'm gonna be. Nah, I can't do it, Katie Taylor. And it's you know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like when people used to meet Michael Jackson, and they'll probably start crying and all that. I can't. Like I've been following her career forever. I can't do it, bro. Can't do it. Can't do it. Aline Boatwright says Mayer likes to mix it up, and that will be her undoing. You're in there chatting with a bona fide phenom right now. She's only scratched the surface of her potential. Sky's the limit. You sounding the quiet, man. I've been talking about Alycia for like I think 5 years now, yo. Like I've been like even before I got to speak to you, like I was like, yo, that I need to watch her. She's like she got it. Like she got it. Trust me. Just keep an eye on that one. So with that being said, let's move on to you and your last fight with Edith Matisse, a very durable, tough fighter. How do you evaluate your own performance and how do you grade yourself for that fight?
Yeah, so great fight, durable fighter. For that fight in particular, I would grade myself a probably 8 out of 10. And only an 8 out of 10 because I didn't get the knockout. I wanted the knockout, but again, I know as a fighter, The knockout doesn't always come with a fighter like her. Very durable. Her will was to go the distance with me. If I can survive these 10 rounds, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And for me, I came back to my corner. I'm like, listen, I'm hitting her with everything. And their instructions were, well, go ahead and look good doing it. Look pretty boxing, doing what you do, have fun. So that's exactly what I did. I have fun. And again, that gave me 8 out of 10. And I was really actually excited and proud of myself that I won every round. And I thought that was something big because that was kind of overlooked. But yeah, it was 8 out of 10 for me.
I personally graded it a 9 out of 10. I ain't kissing up. I'm just saying that I scored a fight live. I'm like, she won 10 out of 10 rounds. Fight never got away from her. She was in control. Edith, the thing is, people had never seen Edith, so they don't realize that. Normally Edith is a handful. Normally, like she'll come forward, she'll mix it up, make a lot of other girls uncomfortable. I've seen it, and the year mark for me was I've actually seen a lot of her fights. So the fact that she's so cautious now, like she just trying to survive now. She ain't trying because she felt the power. It was like, yeah, I get that a 9 out of 10. Even though it wasn't a knockout, that's a 9 out of 10. To get that kind of respect from somebody like her,
True.
that's a 9 out of 10.
True.
Emma Willis asks, ask Eddie to put you on the AJ versus Canelo and Triple G cards.
He should. I'm gonna ask.
Real rap. The other thing is, okay, there's basically a situation, or there was one, to where what was supposed to be a mandatory challenger from France, Ellen Mechaled, she claimed that she was offered the fight and she didn't like the amount of time she was given, so she said she was going to retire, right? Now, news very recently broke that she's not retired and she's fighting Delphine Persoon in Dubai. What did you make of that news?
I thought it was confusing. I think it was very confusing to the boxing world, as you mentioned, because we were supposed to fight her as our mandatory. And so now I'm thinking you're fighting Delphine. That's odd because you just had a chance to fight for a title, which you've been wanting to fight for a title for a very long time. And you can say anything you want and post on social media, but what's factual is what the teams are saying. You know what I'm saying? You can go back and say, "Oh, we weren't offered, but you were." So it's just kind of odd to me. But I'm just like, whatever. I know the position I'm in. She's gonna have to figure out what she's doing, right? So
Yeah, because it looks like the winner of that fight, it's peculiar for me as a spectator because the winner of that fight, presumably, they're billing it as some kind of a title fight. And you can make the inference that WBC silver title or WBC interim title, it's not the full title. You have the full title. So what's interesting is the winner of that fight may go on to become the mandatory challenger for your belt. But it's like, why are you fighting for mandatory when it's already there? They offered you to fight. It doesn't make sense. Like, why it's a step backwards. If they offered you the title fight, why would you fight in what is an eliminator?
great question. Maybe she got offered more money, better opportunity. That could be a thing. But she definitely had her chance to fight me. So I don't
Do
know.
you like her chances in that fight?
But with Delphine, I don't know. That's gonna be tough. Delphine can make a fight very ugly. I've seen it with Katie Taylor, and with Katie Taylor being at the top of her game, that says a lot. So whatever she brings to the table against Delphine is gonna say, a lot of things. Hopefully she wins, so we can fight. But whoever it is, I'm ready.
I dig it. All right, we got Country. Shout out to Country. Country asks, what's good, Jules and Alycia? Alycia, you ladies got a champ in Julius for all y'all and women's boxing. Thanks to him, we love watching you. Rest assured, you have our support. The word is out. Appreciate that, Country. Appreciate that. You ain't had to do that. Appreciate that. Danny Fantasma says, not to jump too far ahead into the future, but how far in weight classes do you feel you can go when you achieve undisputed at featherweight? What's your ceiling, Alycia? Where would you say you cap off at?
I would say 147.
Really? Welterweight?
I would say 147. Yes.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about the Choi situation because the understanding was, or at least what people were expecting, is okay. Well, if LM doesn't want the fight, that probably will accelerate the Choi unification. Where did those negotiations hit a snag? Like, what's going on with her, and what are you hearing?
I'm hearing a lot of things with Choi. And again, she's not active on social media. You have people speaking for her, for one. Two, we all know we need to make that fight between me and her. It makes sense. We need to make this fight because we need to make the fight with Mayer. This is what I want. And so what I'm being told is that Choi is just pretty much doing what she wants to do, which is fine because you're a champion, you can do that. But right now you're kind of shitting on the sport because we need to make this fight. So I'm hearing that she wants to have a fight, maybe defend her title in her country. If I need to go over there, I would gladly go over there to do that. And I think she's just kind of like waiting out. Maybe she's on her way out. Maybe she doesn't want to fight me. She wants to do an easier fight to maybe make history in her country for what she's accomplished for being a reigning champion for so long. That's cool, but we need to make something happen. I talked to the WBA.
Gilberto Mendoza?
Yes, talk to him. I'm like, hey, what do we do? We need to make this fight. I keep pushing it. So he knows I've been in his ear. I also talked to her manager, Paco, which I met in New York, and I made it very clear as well that we want the fight. We want to make the fight. He agrees that she wants to fight me, that she said that she's been wanting to fight me, that she's not scared to fight me. I'm like, cool. I love the confidence. Let's make the fight. So right now it's just talks going back and forth. They know I want the fight. So again, the ball is in their court to say yes. And I know Matchroom has given them, can give them a great offer to make the fight happen between Choi and I.
And that was the other question I had because Matchroom announced, I believe it was last year, that they signed her, they signed Maiva Hamadouche, but she's only actually fought once under the banner, and that was 2 fights ago. She fought, I think it was Calista Salgado, part of a Matchroom show. Her very next fight after that, before the end of last year, was against Simone de Silva. That was in South Korea, wasn't even a Matchroom show. So the question I have, is she still with Matchroom? Is she still with them, or
Again, that's a good question to know. I don't know those type of details only because you can go off of her having 2 fights matching. So you're thinking maybe so, but right now, if I could say maybe not, because I would think the fight would already been made. But I don't know. That's the business side, and her promoter, my promoter talk, or I'm sorry, her manager, my manager, all that talk.
mm-hmm.
Ain't no telling.
Yeah, but it's an odd situation. So basically, with Choi possibly dragging her feet, we'll see because you never know. She might change her mind. You see a fight like this weekend's fight, and if you're a competitor, you want that for yourself. You want to fight on a stage like that. So maybe she'll change her mind. Sophia asks, Ms. Baum, I teared up a little on your knockout win in the UK. Keep it up. Rooting for you. Please help our man Ring. Y'all gotta stop with this, man. With this Katie Taylor. And look, I'm gonna be too star. I can't do that. I'm gonna be too starstruck. Like I ain't gonna be able to talk. Katie gonna get mad or something. I don't. You know what I mean?
Thank you again for that. That knockout makes me tear up too. Every time I see that clip, I'm like, man, I did that.
And you gonna do more than that too. That's the other thing. Gonna do more than that. It's gonna be a lot of those. The next is, trust me, I see the future, man. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I mean? So we got the Michaela Mayer thing, and the Michaela Mayer fight is not just a fight. It's like that's a real for real organic beef. That ain't even just, I got a belt and you got a belt and we gonna fight. It's beef there. Like it's genuine dislike. Why is that?
Because she talked too much. That's why.
Mm.
She talks too much, and I feel like she's so contradicting of everything that she has said since the beginning. And you can go back to those interviews, you can go to screenshots and say all that. But right now, I'm in position to have authority, and that bothers her. And so obviously we both want to make the fight. That's cool. But you need to respect on my end what I'm doing as a champion too, just like you did. You had the platform before I did. You've had the exposure before I did. I've been waiting for my shot, my chance. Now I am world champion, and then it's like, well, let's rush to make the fight. Well, why am I on your terms? Why on your terms? Why do I have to jump to your saving to be like, okay, let's make this fight? And I will say, after my fight with Terry Harper, I'm like, let's fight Mayer. But my team was like, wait a minute, we don't have to move as fast as you want to. Like we could really sit back and strategize how we're going to elevate your career. And I'm like, that's smart. That I'm being a smart fighter. You know what I'm saying? That fight with Mayer, if you've seen the build up with Katie Taylor and Amanda, that's exactly the same fight that me and Mayer can have. And I know that because there's real beef. These are two competitive fighters. We're both world champions. We're trying to fight for undisputed. Like we need that build up. And I think right now the build up, yeah, it's out there, but it's not as clear as I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? People want to still see me fight. And that's fair enough. I think that's fair to say, hey, who's Alycia? That just builds for the fight to be like, okay, Mayer, Baumgardner, which team are you on? You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I got a lot of fans, but not a lot of people still have seen me, and I want them to see me.
I completely understand. Emma Willis says Mayer is legit jealous that all it took was one fight with Eddie to make you a star. You're more known globally than her. Shout out to the champ.
This is true. This is facts. And you can see it with how she tweets and just her energy and how she possesses it. She is a little salty. She kind of jealous. Like, damn, I was supposed to beat Terry Harper. Guess what? That didn't happen because I knew I was going to be in that position. So
No, I mean, because I try my best to be objective, but I also, in being objective, I have to highlight that Michaela Mayer, she signed with Top Rank in July of 2017. So she's been with them approximately 4 to 5 years. But the knockout of Terry Harper, one fight, one knockout, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's on you couldn't get away from it. It was like that gasoline, it was like that song, you couldn't get away from it. You know what I mean? It was everywhere, and that was really all it took. So I tend to agree with Emma that was game changing. Just that moment was like, wow, dog. She had a one time, she was stuck, and she's a great fighter. You're a great fighter. Bay says Mayer is scared to death to fight off of Top Rank cards. That allows me to allude to my next point. Do you get the sense that she wants to bring the fight to Top Rank, or do you get the sense that she's willing to come to you for the fight, to the DAZN platform?
she wants to fight on Top Rank. I think that's an easy decision for her. But I believe that the fight's going to happen on Matchroom. That's just how I see it. Eddie has more control in how that kind of goes because he gonna put the money up. Bob ain't, because if that was the case, we would have already had an offer to be like maybe, and I would, and that could be a maybe. I could go to Top Rank, but I feel like the ball's in our court for her to come to Matchroom.
When you heard, because he got, this was about 2.5 months ago when news broke that the cards would be going head to head, Taylor-Serrano, Valdez Stevenson, where he said, oh, people really don't watch women's boxing. You as a woman boxer, how did that make you feel, and how does that affect your outlook of Top Rank as a company?
It was a disrespectful comment. Again, like you mentioned before, he's living in a dinosaur age. And it's like you have to respect women, period. Just respect the women. Okay. Respect that they're in the sport of boxing and that they're doing the same thing as men. We're risking our lives as well. We're trying to make, a living for ourselves. And so I thought it was a disrespectful comment. And so my outlook on Top Rank is kind of like, well, whatever with y'all, I'm going to be with Matchroom and support them, uplift them because they're doing everything I'm asking them to do. They're taking care of me from to the top to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. And that's why I knew that's who I wanted to be with because he supports my dream and my goals. And so I'm all for that. So Top Rank is kind of like, yeah, y'all got a big platform. You got ESPN. That's cool. But I have someone who works on my behalf and is loyal, and making sure that I get what I need.
Virtuoso asks, Alicia, just curious, do you have Korean heritage?
I do. I'm Korean and Japanese. So that's why I think the fight with
I
Choi.
ain't, I ain't even know that. Japanese too?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
A melting pot over here.
For real, yo. We all got all type of different stuff, yo. We all got some different stuff, man.
Got my iced coffee.
I got my cafe con leche, my warm coffee. I let it cool down. And yeah, the beef, the same thing that makes you guys rivals is more or less the same things that makes the fight such a great fight. That this is not, ain't nobody putting on, they don't like each other. Like, that's off top, like legit. It's a real for real beef. But it seems like Michaela, because I saw a couple of tweets. I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, y'all. I'm talking about what Michaela said. Michaela said they're gonna try to do it this year, but if it don't happen this year, then she gonna move up to 35, just to see if she could get either Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano. Do you think she stands a chance of getting either of those fighters if she were to move up to lightweight?
She would get Amanda before Katie. Let's be honest. She's definitely not fighting Katie next because guess what? That's Eddie's fighter. Eddie got a lot of control, in the now. So I can see her fighting Amanda, and really getting beat by Amanda. To be honest,
You think Amanda? I wanted to ask you about that. You saw Amanda's power. You see her boxing, and you look at Michaela. Like, I know you don't like her, but you have to admit she's a good fighter. She's a good. Michaela's a good fighter, right?
she's all right. Yeah.
All right. So just thinking about that fight, Michaela's very big for super featherweight. She's very tall. She's very long. She can box from the outside and bang on the inside. You think Amanda can beat her?
Yeah, I do. And I say that because Amanda has more pro experience, one. Two, she's a puncher. And this is the difference. This is why I believe that I would beat Mayers, because she hasn't been in there with the puncher. I hit harder than all the girls at 130 and 135 and probably 147. And I'm just gonna be honest. I know what my power is. I know what I possess. And Michaela Mayer has not been in there with the punch. She has not been hit. And when I'm hitting with every intention, with every punch, my jab is fucking strong. So that's just gonna say a lot how Mayer can even take a punch. Cause we got 8-ounce gloves on, and bitch, I'm coming. So
Do you feel that the Hamadouche fight, because Hamadouche, I love Hamadouche, by the way. I don't speak French, so I can't tell her that I love her, but I feel like in that fight, at minimum, what Michaela showed is she has an engine. She can keep fighting for the full from 1 to 10. And, she took some shots. You don't think that fight shows that she has toughness?
that fight does show that Michaela has toughness, that she has like a gas tank. But again, Hamadouche ain't me. The girls was throwing punches in the middle of the ring and none of them got buckled. What does that tell you? That's a whole lot. No, who got buckled? Michaela got pillow hands, is what they call it. Hamadouche, I can't take away her power, but neither one of them buckled each other. So that was kind of like shocking to me a little bit. But yeah, Michaela does have engine. Michaela is tough, but once you get hit, you about to be on your bicycle. Believe that.
Okay. Karma asks, Hearn gets a lot of blowback in the sport, but he's made waves in women's boxing. Alycia, where do you see the women in 5 to 10 years taking into consideration the current momentum?
Man, listen, I see headlining cards. Like, it's not even about the men at this point. It's like, oh, we got a main event women's card, and you're just going to start seeing more of those. And hopefully we're able to see other promoters do the same. Top Rank, PVC, Golden Boy. Again, having this drive, this push for women's boxing, Eddie Hearn showed it. So if any other promoter ain't convinced, something wrong with y'all, and you're really shitting on women's boxing if you don't give them a chance.
Exactly. M.A. Bustamante says, "Hey, Champ, seeing what Matchroom did on Saturday, how do you feel about being part of that stable, and how bad for Mayer for being with Top Rank?" Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because she's really the only, like, I don't know if they're going to sign Virginia Fuchs, who just very recently went pro. And I have to say that the girls, wow. I was like, wow, right? But they really only have one fighter, and it's been that way for 5 years. What do you make of that?
I think it's kind of odd. I thought I had this, and it's like two things. I had this idea on why they never signed Clarissa. I think Clarissa would have been perfect for Top Rank just because it's a big platform, and the fact that Michaela got that before Clarissa, even though Clarissa was in the pros first, it that still made me question that. And I also think, her being the only woman on Top Rank's roster, it kind of makes it a little difficult for her, I think, because Matchroom has a lot of pull. You know what I'm saying? I think, she got to feel some type of way to feel that she kind of out the loop when it comes to, women's boxing in regards to who has the main stable, and that's Matchroom. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, because Golden Boy has Sulem Urbina, Cenicia Estrada, Marlon Esparza, Areti Musinho, Annabelle Ortiz. They had Franchon, but I guess that Franchon parted ways with them. She went to Matchroom. She looked amazing on, like, yo, she beat the hell out of that. Yo, she beat the hell out of that girl. And I said that's what's gonna happen. But Franchon crossed over from Golden Boy to Matchroom, but even still, Golden Boy has 4 or 5 girls. Matchroom has lots, but
right.
Top Rank has one.
But you notice Golden Boy too is not even putting Sanisa on. She pulls crowds too. She pulls views too, and they're not even putting her on. It's a shame, bro. Like, it's really a shame. And honestly, like, if I'm keeping it real, I feel bad for Michaela sometimes because I'm like, damn, you with Top Rank. And don't get me wrong, she may love it over there. She may be getting paid, whatever. But I'm just thinking in my head, just as a woman, just be in the position that I am to be with Master. I'm like, wow, they're doing a lot for me. Like, they could really do this for any woman. But she chose to stay with them. So
A question, because the look of it for me as an outsider looking in is you're doing things on your time regardless of what someone else might want. What she's doing is saying that there's a time constraint, that if it don't happen this year, she gonna go up to 35. So if she goes to 35, what happens after that? Because it's like, well, Katie got all the belts at 35, and like you said, she's not gonna get her.
right.
So
That's tough. Again, I can only focus on my career, and my career right now is flourishing. It's growing, and I know I'm in the perfect position to move however I want to move. So again, I think Michaela should have more patience and stay at 130. If not, move up to 135 then. But I'm going to be undisputed at 130. That's my goal, and that's exactly what I've been telling myself. So whoever's in my way, whoever I have to fight to be undisputed at 130, so be it, Michaela or not.
Well, I mean, I've already seen it in a vision. I have visions. You see what I'm saying? Seen the vision
And
of Alycia with all the belts. So I already, like, I seen it. So you ain't got to worry about that. Sophia says, "Ring, stop ducking at Katie." Oh man, y'all gonna keep doing. Can we have Alycia on the channel more often? Yeah, man, Alicia's always welcome, but she's a very busy woman too. You gotta understand that too. She got to fight, got to train, got to model, got the juicing thing. Like, people got lives, yo.
Man, listen about the Katie interview. Listen, I didn't even get to meet Katie yet. She's hard to get to, so I'm still looking forward to meeting her.
I can't, like that. Like I said, that would be like when Mike Jackson was alive and people would go meet him and they'll start crying and all. I'm like, yo, dog, I can't talk. That's the joint. Be like this. This different, fam. Bob loves boxing for the money. It has made him. I've grown to appreciate Eddie's authenticity and purity about boxing. Nevertheless, you can't fully trust one promoter. Jake Paul may be different, however. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with, Eddie Hearn being just one promoter. But if it's anything I've noticed over just the course of this fight, every time I would hear Eddie Hearn speak on this fight, it was just like, man, that man is representing all women. He's representing me on the roster. I'm like, I dig that. Now, Jake Paul, he has a lot more learning to do. I think he means well to help. So again, shit, he could probably, I don't know.
The more the merrier. That's how I think about it. The more the merrier. The more people that's helping, that's more people helping, and that's good.
Yeah.
Tayin says, "All hail the bomb. With all this Mayer and Choi talk in the ether, what's the next best fight for you? In the meantime, salute the Ring IQ. What do you think outside of Choi and outside of Michaela in a 130-pound division? What would you say is like, okay, this is a good fight? Also,
I think Han. I think fighting Han would be a great fight. Why? Katie Taylor and Michaela fought her. And I just believe it will show just different pedigrees in the fighter. What Katie did to her, what Michaela did to her, and me. Again, who would you see at 130?
oh, easily. One is natural, one is already en route, but it depends on who win the fight. Because I'm gonna just be real, right? Because I'm gonna just be real. I ain't even gonna be PC. If Delphine win the fight, Delphine gonna want the fight with you. But if LM get the fight, I'm like, you don't. LM don't like. I'm not trying to knock her, but you don't make sense. How you going? To turn down a title shot to fight for an interim? You fight for the interim to get the title shot.
I like to fight with Delphine. Again, I'll fight anybody. Styles make fights, and Delphine has a real ugly style, but it's definitely beatable.
Yeah.
Honestly, it don't matter who they put in front of me. If we don't get the Choi or Mayer fight, they want to keep me busy. I want to stay busy. I'm not going to be dragging my feet either. I need to be out there, making my money, building my record, and gaining experience. So whoever they put in front of me, I'm more than ready to fight.
One last one, because obviously that's not the only super fight in women's boxing this past weekend, and it's not even just Baumgardner versus Mayer either. There's also Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shields, which is reportedly supposed to go down sometime this summer. How do you see that fight? The boxer versus the puncher. But this ain't just, a regular puncher. This an ambidextrous puncher. Could fight southpaw, could fight orthodox, real tall, real long. How do you envision that fight looks?
Okay, so for this fight, if I'm being honest, it kind of gives the same type of energy that Katie and Amanda did, right? I don't know. It could be it's a 50-50 fight for me. And to break it down is you have Claressa who knows the ring. She's very well experienced from the Olympics to the pros. And she has a style, but I think a lot of people have been wanting to see a little more from Claressa, and I would say maybe how she can transition her power into knockouts. We're just going to get a buck with knockouts. Savannah Marshall is showing that. Period. These are facts. She's showing that she's knocking these girls out. I don't know how many girls she knocked out already.
Well, she knocked out Rankin. She knocked out Lindbergh. She knocked out Musea. She knocked out Hamaz. She's knocking everything out.
So knockouts, and so I want to know that matchup is so great, because how is it going to look? Is Claressa can box her smart, pick her punches, and still get her combination. Claressa has power too, but I think people want to see her transition that power into knockouts. We know that Marshall has, knockout power, but again, she was beat by Claressa for a reason. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong.
Beat by Savannah.
Savannah beat Claressa for a reason. So again, just in a boxer, a fan's mindset, so it's like, what are we choosing here? So I would say 50-50 fight.
Now, you being a boxer, right, and a fast one, because not only can you box, but you have speed. And I've seldom ever seen anybody in there with you that's as fast as you. But what should a boxer do when they're dealing with somebody that's quick, that they got speed? What can you do to offset that speed? Because that's what I see Claressa has in the fight. She has a lot of speed and a real good jab.
Claressa does have a lot of speed, and that is one of her best attributes, to have speed. So with that, I mean, I can't put, well, if I'm her, if I'm Savannah, right, I'm going to be working on my speed just as much. But then also, I'm going to be working on my footwork and my feints. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking you off your rhythm, or I'm taking you off balance to get my shots in. And I think it's just going to be a toe to toe fight with them.
New Design says, Alicia Konnichiwa, good to see you in the Matchroom stable and global stage. Would you fight Katie Taylor if offered the fight?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I would fight Katie Taylor. Absolutely, I would fight Katie Taylor. I want to fight anybody. That's the thing. This is for legacy. This is not just for no money. This is for legacy. This is what I want to prove as an athlete, as shit, a boxer. Yeah, I would fight Katie Taylor. Absolutely.
So let me think. What's one last one? I'm trying to think because I feel like we touched on mostly everything: the fight, Choi, Michaela, potential prospects for the future. I'm trying to think. It feels like something's missing, man. I'm trying to think. I guess you know what? I want a really good soundbite. This is what I want. I want a really good soundbite. I want you to send Michaela a message. Just whatever you got on your mind, whatever you got to say, good, nice, or otherwise. What's your message to Michaela Mayer and her constant demands and call-outs to you?
My message to Michaela is, if you about that life and the way you've been talking, you would stay at 130 and fight me. You would understand that the fight that we have between you and I is one of the biggest fights, that you're going to make sure that happens. And you're not going to be a scary bitch and move up to 135 because you don't want to be patient. Because at this point, it's about being patient and you making 130. Because she got problems. Maybe she got problems making, take your big ass up to 135, like I said. Same time, I'm going to be undisputed at 130. That's all I know.
We got another one. GM Strong says, Alycia, you very good behind the mic. Do you think that Matchroom could have you do more in that position, more commentator work?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually heading to Vegas this weekend to commentate for Canelo's fight. So, yes, best believe you will see me on the scene.
That's dope. I'm glad to see you doing so well. Punch Drunk Boxing, shout out to Punch. Alicia the Atomic Baumgardner, appreciate your skills and talents. How's the experience training with the Harrisons?
It's dope. You know, I live in Detroit, so just being in the gym, it's just a grit type of gym. Like it's nothing but hard work. And I know what hard work is. I know what being from the bottom feels like. And that's just the persona. When you walk in, you better work hard when you step into that gym. And again, it's just a motivation push. You know what I'm saying? I'm at their level. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there. Shit. Above.
I dig it. One thing that just dawned on me, before you signed the Matchroom, there were difficulties and things like that. How much has things for you changed now that you're a Matchroom fighter? Like, you busier, it's mad stuff. Like, how much have things changed since being brought into the Matchroom stable?
Things have changed so much, and I'm so blessed, and I thank God for these opportunities because, again, like not a lot of people know my story still, and like where I started and where I am now. So just to be in position to call the shots, to say, hey, I want this much, I want to do this, I need you to put me in this room, I need this type of bed, like just to be able to have those opportunities and those times to call the shots, it feels so good, and a lot has changed. I'm able to commentate. I'm able to make money while I'm not fighting. I'm able to, have great relationships with the Matchroom team. Like I know all of them. Like dope. Just every Matchroom person that you meet, they're so friendly. Even when I was going over there to fight Terry Harper, they treated me with respect. They treated me as if I was a champion. And that made me feel good. And so they continue to keep show out. They're a great promotional team to work with. Like I love Matchroom. Like they're doing everything that they're supposed to do. And they do a great job doing it. Like just the build up, like the posters, the promotion, like it's big, like interviews, like they got it packed down.
Yeah, they show out. I know it. Alycia, ask Alycia if she would, what kind of question is that, bro? What's the matter with y'all? if you were, yeah, I ain't gonna waste time with that. Last thing, all right, you got Canelo Alvarez. He's fighting Dimitri Bivol this weekend. Dimitri doesn't have the profile that some other fighters have. He's not like a famous guy, but it looks like a difficult fight. Just preliminary thoughts. How do you feel about that fight?
I feel as if it's going to go, obviously, Canelo's way. And I think these are fights that Canelo, it does something to Canelo. Canelo's so confident in himself that he took this fight for a reason to say, I can beat this guy. And I think it's just showing another part of who Canelo is, his pedigree of a fighter, why he is the king of boxing right now. And I guess also, you have Mayweather. Canelo's where the light's at. So I think he's just building his legacy. So when he does leave the sport, he has a lot to speak. There's a lot to speak on. His resume is speaking for itself. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, Alycia, very grateful for your time. Know you're very busy. Enjoy the rest of your morning or afternoon. Always welcome back.
Always. Thank you for having me. Thank you to everybody who supports me, shares my posts, buys a t-shirt. I'm so thankful, really. Without the fans, there's not that push, and you guys are definitely just big supporters of myself. So keep watching, keep believing. There's so much more to show.
All right. Always a pleasure. See you next time.
See you.
All right, ladies and germs, that has been the Q&A. I'll catch y'all on the next live, and I'll see if I can't get some more fighters on here for y'all, just for y'all questions that y'all want to ask them. Oh, man, Troy, how you gonna come here asking them kind of questions, fam? Like, you try, man, I'm gonna go take a nap. Not with this guy, man.